The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. When the days for Jesus being taken up were fulfilled, he resolutely determined to journey to Jerusalem, and he sent messengers ahead of him. On the way, they entered a Samaritan village to prepare for his reception there, but they would not welcome him, because the destination of his journey was Jerusalem. When the disciples, James and John, saw this, they asked, "Lord, do you want us to call down fire from heaven to consume them?" Jesus turned and rebuked them, and they journeyed to another village. As they were proceeding on their journey, someone said to him, "I will follow you wherever you go." Jesus answered him, "Foxes and have dens, and birds of the skies have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to rest his head." And to another he said, "Follow me." But he replied, "Lord, let me first go and bury my father." But he answered him, "Let the dead bury their dead, but you go and proclaim the kingdom of God." And another said, "I will follow you, Lord, but first let me say farewell to my family at home." To him Jesus said, "No one who sets a hand to the plow and looks to what is left behind is fit for the kingdom of God." The Gospel of the Lord. I've worked in agriculture my entire life, and I have to say I have never plowed a field with a yoke of oxen or of horses. Anyone here do that? Has anyone tried to do that? Father Larry, have you tried? I didn't think so. It's been a while since somebody plowed a field in Kansas with a yoke of oxen, at least nearby, I think. My dad did it. He actually had a pair of Morgan horses. And the thing he always told me about it was that it was really hard to hang on to them. The last line of the gospel, Jesus says, you can't look back and plow. You just can't do it. You look back and plow, that plow's going to go this way, and then it's going to fall over, and then the horses are going to, well, they'll run away. Now, in the story, from Kings, we catch Elijah. He's coming back from the mountain. He's received the messages of God. And one of the messages is that he shall go find Elisha and appoint him as the successor. And so Elijah comes along, and here's Elisha plowing, not with a pair of horses or oxen. He's got 12 yoke of oxen. So that's not just 12 oxen, that's 12 pairs of oxen. To hang on to something like that, I mean, you see pictures of people combining with 12 yoke of horses, but usually they have 2 people riding on the horses ahead of it. I can't imagine the size of Elisha to be able to hold on to 12 yoke of oxen and plow a field. The guy would make a great lineman for K-State. He must have been big. And in his strength, in his power, Elisha submits it all to God immediately. It's not in his weakness that he offers himself to God. It's not because he's crying out and saying, Lord, I can't hold on to these oxen. or I can't hold on to my life. In his strength, he submits himself to God. And he doesn't just do it half-heartedly. He takes the plow and the harnesses, he makes a fire, he roasts the oxen. He's not going back. He's turned himself completely over to God. There is no going back. And he throws a giant barbecue for all the people. 12 yoke of oxen, 24 oxen offered up to the people to celebrate his offering of his strength and complete submission. Any of us ready to do that? If you are, if you throw the barbecue, remind who gave you the idea, invite me, I'd love to come. But that's the moment, the idea, the effort, the impulse, if you will, that Jesus is trying to capture in the gospel. Now, completely give yourself to God. Be transformed by it, as Elisha was, completely transformed over to the will of God. In the gospel, it says that it's now the time for Jesus to go to ascend to the Father. His time is fulfilled. God's time is fulfilled. It's getting close to the end. There's an urgency in these stories. They're very sharp, very fast. It's coming quickly. There's no time. Even the Samaritans, there's not time even to punish them. We're going to fulfill the Father's will. The young people, the story doesn't say, but it sounds as if these are young people who Jesus calls to follow him. Did you notice they didn't burn the oxen? Jesus called them, and the first thing they say is, "Let me go bury my father," or "Let me say goodbye to my parents." And immediately when you think, my goodness, why can't he go bury his father? The story doesn't necessarily say that his father is dead. This is an expression that someone would say that he must complete his commitment, his obligation to his father to bury his parents. It may be a long time before his father passes away. So too, the one who says, "I must go say goodbye to my family," will he ever come back? Think of it another way. If they were on fire to follow Jesus, they might have said, "Let me go and bring my father along with me. Let me go and bring my family with you. I will go proclaim with my family the kingdom of God." That's the urgency that Jesus is trying to convey to us. To convert now. Now. Now is the time. Why should I give up my farm, my oxen, my family to follow God? St. Paul in Galatians gives us an idea. He says, you've received the freedom of Christ, the freedom of sin, the forgiveness of God. Jesus is willing to offer everything that he is as the Son of God for us, for our forgiveness, for our salvation, if we but turn. Now is the time. You see, in the gospel, the Samaritans had faith. It wasn't quite a Jewish faith, but they were relatives, cousins of the Jewish people. The young people who were asked to go follow Jesus, who said that I must bury my father or say goodbye, they were people of faith. But it wasn't on fire for them. It wasn't transformational. And that's, I think, the message to us. Because I know if you got out of bed to be here at 8 o'clock Mass, you're people of faith, I have no doubt. But does it transform you? Does it set you free? Do you feel the forgiveness of sins? And out of that, do you feel the urge to proclaim the gospel now? Not after the football game or after the barbecue, but now. Now. Elisha really could have waited to follow God. He could have waited until he no longer was strong enough to plow that field or to handle even one pair of oxen. And then he could have sat in the temple to pray when there was nothing else to do. But that isn't what God asks us to do, to wait till the end of our lives to find God. Jesus says, now is the time. Like Elisha, we're called to offer everything we have that we might receive everything that God offers back to us. To surrender ourselves and turn to God, that we might be transformed. We're called, even now, even in the Eucharist that we'll have today. Now is the time.